Good day, folks, and welcome to review number 51. We just finished reviewing one of the most epic Transformers figures of all time. Now for something not quite as epic, but still pretty cool. It's the Transformers Generations GDO Wheelie. So, starting off looking at the packaging, we see that Wheelie comes packaged in vehicle mode on what looks like a standard generation style card. But if you look a little closer, you'll notice that some of the writing doesn't quite look right. And from my understanding, this figure was supposed to be part of an Asia exclusive release, and for whatever reason they did end up deciding to bring this figure to North America as a Toys R Us release. But for whatever reason, they decided not to change the packaging, so we end up with the Asian release packaging here. On the back of the card, we have some images of the figure in robot and vehicle mode, along with the short bio paragraph and the tech specs. And again, being the Asian packaging, everything is in English and in the Asian characters. One other thing I thought was a little interesting, many times we see the photos that are on the back are taken of a pre-production prototype, and sometimes the colors change, and in particular it seems like this figure, the colors did change quite a bit. The blue of the figure is much lighter now than what's shown here, and the headlights seem almost like like they used a gold paint, and we got more of a yellow on the headlights here. But that's just something that's interesting that happens quite a bit with Transformer packaging. So here we have the figure in vehicle mode as he was originally packaged, and for the most part I really do like the way the colors turned out. This is the Reveal the Shield Jazz mold we have going on here, and so this would be the same pseudo Porsche vehicle mode here that Jazz had, but the colors look real nice on here. I would have preferred maybe that they had gone with that darker blue on the hood, but that's probably about the only fault I can have here. The headlights are painted. They've got clear plastic for the fog lights here. You've got the stripes around here. They painted the back window here. They painted the tail lights. So yeah, the vehicle mode looks real good. Going back to one of my common complaints though about when you use clear plastic and then have to paint it, the roof piece here is painted clear plastic, and when you do that you can never quite match it. So the molded orange over here just doesn't quite match the paint on the roof here. It's not a big deal, and it's not terribly noticeable. It's not as bad as some yellows I've seen, but it is noticeable. So depending on your preferences, that might be an issue for you. One other issue in vehicle mode that I would like to point out is the weapon storage. Rather than the same gun that Jazz had, Wheelie comes with a slingshot, essentially, which is a pretty cool concept, but the way they executed it, when you go to put it in the storage location where the gun would go, you get a bit, it doesn't quite sit flat, so it ends up sliding on that weapon rather than allowing the wheels to turn. You can fiddle with it a little bit, try to get a little bit better angle in there, but it doesn't quite work well. There may have been a way to make that a little better, but it's really a minor complaint though. So, on to Wheelie's transformation. If you already have Reveal the Shield Jazz, there's no new surprises here for you. Now, I'm particularly fond of this mold, and was definitely glad to see another figure use it. The transformation itself is very straightforward. It's fairly quick to transform, but the way a lot of the parts move and expand, it remains pretty fun. My only complaint, though, is that some of the clips seem pretty tight, and sometimes you might feel like you actually might break something off in the figure when you're unclipping it. So far, though, the figure's still intact, so I wouldn't worry too much. So, here we have Wheelie in his robot mode, and he actually looks very good. When I first heard that they were going to be using the Jazz mold for Wheelie, I didn't quite picture how it would turn out. It didn't seem to make sense for me. But now that I have it in hand, he's actually very cool. The colors all work right. He actually seems like a bit more of a mature Wheelie than the childish character from the original G1 series. But I think the robot mode works very well. And of course, as he is the Jazz mold, we've got a bit of a ball-jointed head here, some articulation, but because of the shape of the head, his articulation is a little bit limited. We got a ball-jointed shoulder, bicep swivel, we got elbow joint there, a bit of a ball-jointed wrist, ball-jointed, it's a hinged hip there, and a swivel there. Then you have a thigh swivel, double-jointed knee, and you do have some ankle, not necessarily tilt, but movement back and forth. The feet are actually designed so he can stand with his feet spread a little bit apart, and he's got waist swivel there too. So articulation-wise, the figure is very good. Of course, the real highlight of this figure is the new head sculpt you've got here. And again, this is very, very Wheelie. You've got kind of the ball cap look going on here that he was known for, and you've got this big grin on his face. But again, with just the way some of the lines are on this face, it makes it look more like a grown-up Wheelie than the child type character we saw in the '86 movie and in season 3 of G1. So for me, this is more of Wheelie, several years later. But I think it is a good evolution for the character. Wheelie does come with a few accessories here. As I already pointed out earlier, he comes with the slingshot weapon, which can be held either as a slingshot here, or it's got kind of a handle here where he can turn it into kind of a forked gun. But I much prefer the slingshot. It's more fitting to Wheelie. The other thing he comes with is he still comes with Jazz's speakers. For me, they don't work as well with Wheelie, and most of the time I'll just leave those tucked away rather than out, because the speakers are Jazz's thing. That's not really Wheelie's thing, so I'll leave those tucked away. The Transformers Generations GDO Wheelie is a neat little figure from a unique line. GDO, at least to me anyway, almost seems like convention toys for the general public. They're reused molds with new colors and sometimes remolded heads to produce characters that would, in most cases, never get a figure release on their own. I really hope this line continues, because I'm very interested to see where this could lead in the future.